It's the Long Island Breakfast Club show. Grab a cup of coffee or hot cocoa. It's the Long Island Breakfast Club show. Grab a cup of Java or espresso. It's the Long Island Breakfast Club show. Tina Valentina is the host, you see. She's as classy as she can be. Grab a cup of coffee or espresso with the Long Island Breakfast Club show. I say rise and shine, get up and go. It's the Long Island Breakfast Club show. Grab a cup of coffee or espresso with the Long Island Breakfast Club show. Another cup of Java or espresso. Another cup of coffee or hot cocoa. It's the Long Island Breakfast Club show. It's the Long Island Breakfast Club show. It's the Long Island Breakfast Club show.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Thursday, only today is Thanksgiving on the Long Island Breakfast Club show. If you notice, we have a lot of Thanksgiving stuff on our table. And we have two bookends today, Stephanie and Bill. You match perfectly to the table and the arrangements. So thank you. Thank you for coming. Stephanie is the co-founder of the Long Island Breakfast Club from 17 years ago when we met in an interview. We both were interviewing for the same job.
Yep.
And we came up with this idea to help other women like us who are smart, intelligent, and let go. And that's where we've been and doing all kinds of other things now with the show and films and everything. So it's good to have you on the desk.
Thank you. It's good to be
and
back.
Bill is a volunteer who always is here for all of our events. And they're bookends, really. They are dating. And it goes to show you, second time around, guys, it's good. Right?
I'll have
Bill,
to second that.
it's very good, right?
Serious dating.
Yes. And I believe in second time around because I also now, I'm dating an Irishman. I'm Italian through and through.
Can't
but
go
I'm
wrong with that.
dating an Irishman, and I never knew so much about Irish as I have in the last 4.5 years. So we have some great guests today. We have CHRISTINA MASSA. Where are you, CHRISTINA? Hi,
Hello.
thank you for coming and being on the show. We're going to
Thank
be
you.
all about the great things you're doing. And we have JSLOTA, a Paisan from New
Hello.
Jersey, a book author. And we're going to be talking to you. But most importantly, today is National Cake Day. Did you guys know that?
No.
Yes? No?
No.
Well, on the club and the show, we always eat. So we have National Cake here. All right, everybody's going to have a piece. This chocolate crumb from Entenmann's. Because I don't bake anymore. Over 50, you don't bake anymore. You do.
Sometimes.
Stephanie
Let's
cooks
not
a
get
lot.
crazy.
I passed the baton of cooking to my daughter. I don't cook anymore. That was after I lost my job at 50. That's it. You don't do anything anymore that you used to do. You change. So, but it's going to be a great show. So we're going to start first with Christine. And how did I meet you? On Facebook? I'm trying to remember. I called you.
You
I
did.
saw an article about this thing called Scooter.
Yeah, you could call it Scooter. That's
Yeah.
short.
What the hell do you think Scooter is? Do you have any idea, guys?
I know what the real one is, but I'm assuming it's some sort of internet platform.
And it's for recruiting.
It's Recruiter Scooter. And
The way
it
you explained
is,
it to me, it reminds me of maybe, which I could be wrong, something like Indeed. But I don't know.
something, but it's unique. It's a patented system. I could talk about it. You want me to go right into it? I'll go right into it.
Yes, and then Bill's going to ask you a few
That
questions.
sounds very interesting.
Yeah, so the premise of it is to empower individuals. The future of work is here. By 2030, we are going to have about half of the workforce in some type of fractional or gig state. We're also going to have a good deal of people needing to reskill. So I really thought about, been doing HR outsourcing and services for the better part of my career, 25 years, including bulk hiring. And I really basically, I flipped the whole thing on its head. So it's a universal app. that empowers the individual. So you have your background check done up front, which goes with you. So it's on wheels, it's agile, it keeps moving. The air hire app that I built with a team is in essence going on there, running your own background check, and then releasing it to an employer upon a conditional job offer. So really instant hire in many cases. The background checks can take 2 weeks. So when the full system is built and scaled, the idea is to use AI. The patent was filed 5/4/23 before the hype. I saw the different generations coming together. I saw post-pandemic. I saw speed to hire mattering. It always does. But I also saw the people needing to reskill because of AI itself. And of course, the gig and the fractional. So what the system does, why it's unique, it's, the current applicant tracking systems that employers use today, large or small, even smaller employers will use those, are linear. This invention learns about the person, or we can call it recursive. So if you're rejected from a job, which 75% of applicants today are ghosted, they're stressed, really stressed. Looking for a job is not fun, even if you're already employed, but for the unemployed, it is very stressful. It impacts mental health, emotional, financial well-being, and the system will not ghost you. You get to choose your preferences. You have empathetic responses. So it uses AI to do that. And also, if you are rejected from a job, it learns why, and you just keep looping and going until you land. So really looking forward to getting this scaled and having some conversations around licensing the patent as well. I have 5 others pending. It's very exciting. Where we are with AI is, we can liken it to the .com. There is a bubble. I think we all know a lot of its height. This supports the notion of ethical AI, human first AI. And we need to augment humans, not automate them. So bigger than just getting a job placement. And I'm excited to say the Common App also supports people through other things, right? So think about anywhere where digital identity, agency, dignity is needed, life events, housing, dating apps, volunteering. But we have to start with the job. That's where it all starts.
So each, go ahead.
So is there a fee to be on the recruiter scooter?
Right now, we are giving it away free to individuals to go on there, run their background checks. Employers will have to pay for the background check. And then they can also run another one real time at a very discounted rate.
So you'll get
The idea.
So you will get the person will come to you and you will get the background check. You'll put that money out. And then when they do get an interview with an employer, then the employer or potential employer will then pay you for the background check that you've already done.
Right now, it's a free trial offer. So we are working with a background check company to do that. And in time, the individual would pay for it, a very small fee, and then the employer would then purchase it. The real beauty, though, of the system and method, though, is the bigger picture. So the Air Hire app that's built right now, think about going into a job fair. Thousands go into a job fair. You're meeting with different employers. With it right on your app, on your phone, you can get hired instantly. It's QR code, and that's it. I'll see you Monday.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
That doesn't happen too often.
No.
Yeah, and with today's shifting workforce, we need that. We need speed to hire. Employers need that. I often say you can't sell the goods if you can't stock the shelves. You can't stock the shelves if you don't have the people. We need people. Even in a digital world, we've been a digital world for 25 years. Clearly, AI is changing things, but we need to speed to hire matters and qualified candidates. You cannot release the background check, though, without a conditional job offer. But we have to think big picture, guys. We have to really think about systems learning from people. The app that I built, which is the Air Hire patent application, is the simplified version of that. We've got to get this scaled. And I'm talking with some of our local DOL workforce entities. I've been working with them for a while. They want this scaled quickly, right?
So how long is it going to take you to, get
To
this?
scale it, well, licensing it to a large entity, it could get scaled immediately, right?
Oh, so a big organization.
You need a big organization. And when we think about the big picture and what the Common App can do, we have to think about scale, right? You need the people and you need the entities. So, and it's really a movement. It's a transformation. It's looking at things differently. Right now, it's not about the person. I flipped everything on its head. And now where we're going with AI and the need for digital transparency, it's more important than ever. We have deep fakes out there. We have people posing to be others. People are getting so desperate right now with these ATS systems. When they're doing their job applications, they're actually rigging their own resumes and writing code saying, put me to the top.
Jeez.
And, one could turn around and say, well, that's not really ethical, but they're getting desperate. And the employers are struggling to find qualified candidates as well. So speed to hire does benefit all. Time is money. And stress reduction. I really did invent this to help people and to reduce stress. It's right there in the patent. I just saw the youth. We have Gen Z right now is feeling lost. They're entering the workforce. Many of them want to go into the trade labor, right? They don't necessarily want to go to college, and that's okay. But if you think about all of those certifications riding with you in your Common App, right? And many of them can get validated publicly with API systems, letters of recommendation, authenticity. We need to support people, and we need to build systems that put people first, dignity. We don't want to reduce people to data sets. So it's people first. That's the invention. That's the bigger picture.
Christina, how did you first apply AI to your business?
How do I what?
How did you first apply it to your business? I mean, AI is a broad term.
So my version of AI, when it's scaled, right now I built the air hire component, is human first. So it learns about the person. So think of a network storing data about the person. And it's, I use this term, recursive in nature. So it learns from outcomes. Can use the chatbots, of course, but it's learning from outcomes. It's a bit of a different version of AI that people think of today when they think of AI and automating people. It's not.
So is this like, are you in competition with AI?
No, this will use AI.
Okay.
No, yeah, artificial
Okay.
intelligence is a broad component. It's human first. I am a pioneer of human first AI, and the person controls their own data.
How many jobs are you really have in your spectrum, if you will?
It's global, right? So we're looking right now, we have 12 million job transitions will occur by 2030, 12 million. So, the total addressable market is anyone employable. And when you think about the bigger picture of the Universal Common App, it's large. It's transformational.
So how do you get this out to everybody?
By coming on a show like yours. I'm really
impressed.
once the patent went public so the patent was filed 5/4/23, and the way patents work, that's a priority date. It was published, and now it's public as approved as of 5/6/25. So everyone's scrambling to get their AI patents in because research suggests, just like with .com bubble, the entities that survived or thrived, if you will, post bubble burst were the ones that had the IP as a moat. So we'll be, looking for that and what differentiates companies. So I'm getting the word out. I'm working with brokers to have it licensed. Really need it scaled, and it's a big change for the way we do things today.
How does your version of AI differ from the ones we've seen so far? publicized.
Well, when we think about AI today, I mean, there's different applications of it. When you think about, let's say, ChatGPT, for an example, we think about the internet. Some versions of AI, and I love ChatGPT. I love all of the, I talk to my AIs and I have it talk to each other. It's so much fun. But
Sounds like you.
when you think about this, and one of the AI ethicists I work with very closely, the internet right now is eating itself, right? Because all of the information is just coming in and getting recycled. We're seeing a lot of mediocrity out there with the AIs. A lot of the large language models, they hallucinate, right? So when I say that, they'll give wrong information, right? Mine's human first. It's about the person, and they have the agency with it.
Well, humans are humans, and people should be more human than they are right now. It's not going on out there.
Yeah, and when I think about the universal app, I think about imagination also. I think about dignity, and I often say this. It's not that I used AI against itself with my version of AI, but there's only one you, right? There's only one me. We are each one of a kind. And if everyone's thinking the same, then nobody's thinking, right? So we have to, especially for the youth and the education system, critical thinking matters more than ever right now. And
So what do you think of all this, Joe? Are you a tech head?
Oh yeah, I'm listening to what she's saying, and frankly, I'm impressed at the approach. I'm also impressed at the question that's being asked of her about AI, and I will talk to you in a little bit about my thoughts on AI and how that's a degenerative thing, not what Christina's doing, because she's applying AI, but by 2030, 4,000 C-suite people were interviewed. 70% to 75% of them said that if you have soft skills, you will have the higher probability of getting the job because AI will supplement a large of the reproductive.
And that's interesting. Yeah, that is interesting because when I was looking back, when I was 50 for another job, a new job, I had the soft skills, but they didn't want the soft skills.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it changes.
And the system will learn from you and coach you throughout your life events. And when we think about life events, they happen at once, right? You get a better job. Let's just say you get the job, you get the house, get married, have a child. So, life events, I think coaching mechanisms, not deciding for you. You have the agency because AIs do hallucinate, and that's scary, right? Think about
AI does not have a heartbeat. What Christina
it does not.
It doesn't have a heartbeat. It doesn't have emotion.
That's
and
correct.
if you put a question out on ChatGPT, put it out 5 times within a day, they'll give you 5 different answers because of the regenerative learning, and people have taken it to the bank. And it's a lot of falsity in there, so it's a very dangerous, slippery slope right now.
That's interesting how, you're involved in it as well, Joe, because of what you do and the kind of things you write and the people you deal with.
Absolutely.
And you have your own opinions. Me, I'll be honest with you, I don't use it. I want to, but I have to have someone sit down and show me.
Well, Bill uses it constantly to annoys me to no end because his answer is, let me ask my AI guy. I say, I like to tell your AI guy something.
It's an
I like
that.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Christina, after you.
No, please.
I like when you ask ChatGPT a question, and what Chat will do, it'll come back and you'll say, well, wait a second, that's not right what you just said. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me do it this way. And you can have them say, I'm sorry so many times. And I tell you, it's dangerous, which is one of the prime reasons that I'm writing my second book, because something's got to give in this. And I think what Christine is doing and what you said about 2030 is so spot on. And I think by that time, I'm hoping that her platform is so mature where it takes a lot of this remedial stuff and puts the human back in the seat, which that's the thing I really took out of what you said, Christina.
Thank you. And I feel when you promote AI appropriately, responsibly, and ethically, you promote more time for human touch where it's needed most. We talked about the soft skills. Imagine the AI job matching, being done right, coaching the person as they go. I say it all the time, never rejected, only redirected. And back to you, Valentina, about think about, there was a famous Katie Couric during when the internet was invented, if you will. Famous Katie Couric YouTube video floating around when they said, what is www? What is the World Wide Web?
Yeah.
So it's here, right? And back to what you were saying, Joe, about the questions. It's all, you have to ask the right questions.
Right.
You have to put the right prompts in. And we need to really put the guardrails in, and making it human first, it does that. It's, you know, I'm not going to be filtered out of an ATS system, and it benefits the employers. You have people
To ask.
Yeah. What,
Phil has his list of questions, always prepared.
Give us a little hint, your background. What brought you to this point where you're doing this?
Great question. I spent the better part of my career. I have 25 years of HR services and HR process outsourcing. So a majority of that was spent on employer-sponsored benefits, so healthcare benefits. I'm big with compliance. You know, we rolled out the Affordable Care Act, and also bulk hiring and recruiting. So I was able, you know, I'm a believer, you know, the visionary solutions, right, are seen at the intersection of hindsight, insight, and foresight. So I kind of had it all coming together. Looked at the youth. I looked at my own background and understanding the way things go, understanding top-down initiatives versus bottom-up. And I understand human resources. And of course, we're going to be using AI in it, but let's talk about the word human, because we need to help humans. They matter.
that's
So
true.
yeah, so that's my background. And I've always done innovation as well as part of those services that I provide my employers.
Now, going back to when you were in human resources, just a quick question, you know, did you actually interview people or did your staff?
So when I was in human resources, I represented a pooling of some of the largest employers in the world globally. So we were in the HR services sector. So think about large employers hiring us to do their benefits administration.
Okay, so yeah.
So, but we did hire, because if you think of annual open enrollment, we used to hire, I think it was 1,400 people a year. Not like Amazon with 1 million, but it was seasonal. So
in and out.
we only had so much time to interview, and the background checks took so long, and then we'd lose them in the pipeline because they found other work, right? So you had to come up with creative ways. So that's why I thought, gosh, I have my own invention, because we would have to upstaff to just get a certain number to hit our number, right?
So back in 2017, when the .com was laying off a lot of people in the tech world, you know, basically the people like Stephanie and myself that were trying to get back in because of our age, and we were interviewed by children, it could have been our grandchildren, we couldn't get work. And that's why this whole Breakfast Club started 17 years ago.
And you know, you're finding a lot of people doing that now. You know, I talked about the fractional employment, solopreneurship. If you can kind of think about that, not in terms of running a startup, but like pods of people with certain skill sets.
Yeah, we call what we do gigs. What we're not.
Well, yeah, I mean, people always think,
here and there.
they think of Uber when they think of gig, right? But it's really fractional, right? And again, it's people bouncing around. So if you're bouncing around or riding on a scooter, if you will, you're agile, you're mobile, you keep moving forward.
It's true. I've grown, you've grown since the loss. I mean, it just happens because. And the volunteering, which you said is good, is also a very good way to land a job. And I tell that to people all the time. But the kids, I call them kids. They're not kids, but the kids to me, they don't want to do anything. They just want the check and spend the money.
I think, you know, I think that the Gen Z, I do think they're getting a bad rap. I think they need systems. When you think about the Gen Z, right, they grew up on algorithms, right? All the stuff's coming to them. You think about social media in general. If they had the agency, right, they need hope right now. That's what they need. Because some research suggests, and I hate to say this aloud, that they may be the first generation that is not better off than the one that preceded them. Yeah. And we need to do something about that.
Think of one. Well, I'm telling you, I think what your idea is great. Like I told you, we may be able to coexist with something here and there. And
I'm excited.
yeah, I mean, and where do you live? On Long Island, right?
I live on Long Island, yes.
Long Island's the place to be.
It's
They say
where it's at.
people from Queens are going to come to Long Island now. What do you think, Joe? You think they are?
Don't get me started. That's a loaded question. I think they're going anywhere but the 5 boroughs right now.
Oh, God.
I did grow up in Queens, so I will say a big shout out to that. But yeah, Long Island strong.
Yeah, well, I'm very Long Islander, so are you. But I don't even drive in Queens because it's too scary. It's too dangerous. I take the car because I like to go to the city, but not as much as I used to.
Yeah, we don't go as much either.
So, well, we're going to chat a little bit with Joe, and then we're going to come back, and we're all going to talk to each other.
Wonderful.
So, Joe, hi, Zon. See, I told you we were going to be friends from the beginning.
I can't believe how much you look like my mother still when I look at you. I'm going to send you a picture of her 40 years ago.
Okay.
You'll see
And
what I'm
the poor guy, I actually texted him at midnight. Most of my clients know that I stay up late. And he
My wife
answered
knows.
right away. I'm like, oh, at least he's awake.
My wife goes, "Who's that?" I said, "My girlfriend. Don't worry, I'm still married."
So I'm looking at your book, and it's like from Jersey City to global boardrooms, lessons, leadership, mentorship. You know, from the streets to global seats. From me, that feels like, you know, you've been there, done it, and then some. So let's talk about the book. A hybrid memoir of leadership, legacy, and balance. That's a lot to talk about, don't you think?
Covers a lot of ground. So why don't you
Okay.
explain what your thought process was as to why you decided to write this book?
I'm the product of about less than 20 people who I call the special forces of leadership, who have guided me throughout my life. And coming out of Jersey City, New Jersey, it's a very tough environment. I was from a tough neighborhood, very much a neighborhood where there was a sign in Italy that said "This way to Jersey City," and it was an old Italian neighborhood. I loved it. It taught me so many things: how to read people, how to read the streets, how to be human, how to be caring. And the difference was my World War II father, who was my lead guardian of all time, God rest his soul. He led the communications efforts for the ending of World War II, reported it to Dwight Eisenhower, and I have his award sitting right here and behind me, which he received on the same stage at the same time from President Roosevelt. And he was at the meeting of the Big Three in Yalta. So my father didn't talk much about this. I found out most of this after he passed. But what
Really?
he did, yeah. And he was a master carpenter, my dad. And I say in my book that he used sandpaper for 2 purposes. One of the purposes was to make his projects come out perfect. And another one was to make sure he kept me sanded at the seams. And I could have gone many different ways. I could have gone the drug way. I could have gone the crime way. And the way he kept me away from it was by talking with me, never raised his voice, and by guiding me from the fashion of every day I had to do 4 hours a day. And at the bottom of my book, I have a typewriter, mathematics, music for piano, and reading for a book. And each day before he left for work, I had to make sure I did an hour each of those. And he'd return back. I hated every second of it. And I didn't understand why. I sort of understood all 3 of the 4, but I never understood the typewriter. My father was such a visionary, and I found this out after he passed away. He kept on saying to me throughout my life, "You're lucky you're here. If you were in this war, you'd be throwing your bayonet down and your helmets and say, 'You fight this damn war.'" My father was an avid hater of wars. And what I found out was that when he was in boot camp, they asked him, they asked people in the barracks who can type. And my father was a speed typist. And somebody said, "JSLOTA can type. He can make the carriage burn." And within 3 weeks, he was learning code on his way to Cairo. And it was history because he never talked about it, but his whole barracks got killed in the Normandy invasion. So all this guardianship, which I call Porch University, it's 2 books in one. And I was going to decouple it and separate the book, but I decided not to because the memoir portion, which is the first half of the book, talks about all these human skills, all these high probability I could have not succeeded, but success for me wasn't defined by being this top dog in a company. It wasn't defined by being rich and having all this money. That was nonsense. For me, it was defined never hurting my parents, never hurting people that I know and love. Even if I didn't know you, I couldn't hurt you, even though I had the skills to. And the last thing was I knew that I wanted to meet somebody and fall in love and just be that traditionalist family man, which I was able to do, which is my greatest success. But also, I happened to make it to the global seats. I mean, I've been globally on. I worked for the largest companies and largest firm in the world. I've advised. I've sat in boardrooms. I looked at all the nonsense going on in the boardrooms, but I was able, like that, to read what was going on by reading body language, tone, and how people just interacted with each other. So, again, I put the both together. It's a hybrid, as I said, 2 books in one. The memoir's there, and I didn't separate it because the blueprints or the case studies, which are real global case studies, each one of them, there's 10 with subs of about 2 or 3 under each one, is a different theme of what actually happened. And what I do is I say, what are the outcomes? What went right? What could I have done wrong, better? And more importantly is it refers back to the memoir. What chapters of my memoir did I learn how to do these things that I did successfully? And I actually take the reader right back to the chapters so that they can read what either I was taught by my father, what I was taught by my piano teacher, you name it. So that's how I put it all together. And I guess the last thing to answer without being windy is that anybody who reads this book, you don't have to come from Jersey City. You could be from Long Island. You could be from Vasto, Italy. You could be from Russia. It's adaptable because I ask provocative questions at the back that asks the individuals who are reading it, what would you have done in this kind of a situation, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how it all came to be, from the streets, Jersey City, to global seats, the career, and everything in between, my family.
So you want everybody to read your book and actually think about things and think about their reaction to them and what they would do, and maybe it will give them some insight into their own lives and the decisions that they made, or maybe they didn't do, or now moving forward, an opportunity that they see that they might have missed.
It's a very insightful statement, and I'll tell you why. I struggled on making sure you don't have to be from Jersey City, in this case, to be able to adapt this to yourself. And to your point, I said the only way I kept it generic yet specific. The generic aspect of it was the cases had themes. I opened up with the theme of the blueprint. And then when I got into the blueprints themselves, that was very specific. But I'll give you a case in point. I just posted about an hour and a half ago. A very good friend of mine just received an award for the New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame. John came from my neighborhood. We're both from Jersey City. And John posted my book saying, here's another guy from the hood, and look at how he made it. And I said, but here's another guy, and look how he made it. So we had the same common platform.
Yeah.
He went into boxing, and I went into business. But to your point, the adaptability is so key. And as I was listening to Christina, what she talked about with her platform and what she's looking to do, Christina, I've never met you before, but I listened to what you had to say, and I got to just say, it's a glowing endorsement, because that's the purpose of this book, to put the humanity back into people, and we're just losing it so much. So definitely, I hope I answered your question.
Yes,
and I was just going to add, if I may, when you what I love about it, and I will read your book, is that you tie back the personal experience to how you got right. You have the frame of reference, because often we just go through life and we don't even realize it. We're just marching along. But to get people to reflect and think about that, and I go back to that techie term, recursion. It's recursive. We're constantly, and I think doing that specifically is really what would help people, because everyone's situation is different. As you mentioned, the boxer, the executive, but we all learn from those experiences. And I think that's great, Joe. I look forward to reading your book.
Well, it's also like an example. Like, if anyone told me years ago what I'd be doing now, I wouldn't have thought it.
no, I wouldn't.
Because I just wouldn't have. And what I'm doing now in the last 5 years since losing the corporate wonderful job was just putting my hand out and talking to people and meeting someone new and taking a chance. And that's really a good thing that anybody could do when they're in change.
The adaptability is the, you have to I always say the only difference between a rut and a grave is one is deeper. And if you don't consistently move along and take advantage of the opportunities, maybe you don't see them at first, but you have to look carefully and figure out where you want to go and how you're going to get there and have that plan. And then, you can't be so rigid as to say, oh, well, I didn't get that job. So, no, because I'm not doing that job. You have to be able to say, well, maybe I can do this job and I can do it better and be more successful and be more fulfilled.
There's two things I'll say to that, if you don't mind. I'm very high on guardianship and childhood development, and I think the guardianship is breaking down for a whole host of reasons.
Oh, you're absolutely right. No question.
And I feel bad because you have single parents, dual parents having to work because of the economy. You can have all the reasons, but this lack of guardianship is what kept the wheels on my scooter, to use your term, Christina. And I was very happy, and I became more content and more satisfied with that as my years went on. And as you said, every cycle breeds a new something. But the second thing, which I think is extremely important, was having a constant in your life. I knew from when I was in the third grade that I was going to go to St. Peter's College. I used to watch the ROTC guys standing at attention on the corner, and I had such respect for how strong they were and how they carried themselves. And people say, from the third grade, come on, Joe. I said, my mom and dad weren't going to drive me all over the earth to find the school so I could have a party. I can have a great party at St. Peter's, 6 blocks from my house. So I knew that. But also in St. Peter's, the second constant is I met my wife of 47 plus years. And we have 2 beautiful children. And that to me was never going to get rocked by any global entity. When I was asked to be on a special track to become CEO of a company, which I can't say it, but I work for them, so pick one of the 6. I turned it down. They looked at me like I was crazy. And the reason I turned it down was because I married one person. I wasn't going to marry an entity. And I knew that I would go so far up that I'd have to take my time away from my children's softball games, what to do with my wife on the weekend or whatever. So those constants made me say, I've got to put this in a book so people could have a perspective. And going back to Christina again, when she talked about the Gen Z and being fair, I think that all generations are absolutely awesome. I learned so much from the young kids that worked with me. Nobody ever worked for me. They worked with me, but I learned so much from them. And the issue is that these kids are born with pockets in their diapers for their cell phone.
Right.
I mean, they don't have a fighting chance to have that peanut butter sandwich passed out a window and getting home before the lights go out. Whereas I'm trying to put a taste of it into people's heads. So back to Stephanie's point, it could be adaptable to them.
Absolutely. And if you go back to growing up, like in any kind of family, and you had family that was real family to you, and your mother taught you these things, or your father, it goes back to your roots.
Yeah.
Yep.
I believe that the roots, what you learned when you were there, carries you through. I'll never forget. It was always help everybody, be nice, eat, and go, give. And my parents were not rich, but we were rich in heart, and it stays with you, and you develop it for your next, your children. And
But I think this generation now realizes, or is at least starting to realize, that they're missing something, because our grandson
They are.
is extremely fascinated by the past, and you went to games and then you went to dances and where were they and who did you meet and how. I mean, I think they've been that. They've done that. He graduated college. I think he's computered, did the Wii and the games and all that nonsense. And I think they're looking for, I know he is, and some of his friends are now looking to be a little bit more grounded.
They really are. And there is some research that backs that up. Some of them are a little lost. And I think going back to Joe with the guardianship. So we think about the kids on the screens, the parents were raised on algorithms, and then they have kids. It's only natural. We have to break that cycle. And I do think that a lot of the youth is looking to get back to nature and things. They want a lot of flexibility, though, in the workforce. That they want.
In contact, because he works remotely, and he's looking for another job because he wants to go to an office. He wants to be part of a team. He wants to knock it off at 5 o'clock and go for a happy hour and social.
Yeah, we need that. I think
And just if you don't mind,
No.
I just talked to my son. My son is a 39-year-old. We were just talking about the exact same topic here. I think that the instantaneous gratification, the lack of social skills, the computers, the click and instant like that, dug these younger generation folks, not to knock them, it's dug them so deep in a hole that they don't know what it's like outside of the hole. Now,
Yes.
we're at an impasse. We're either going to, that's another reason I wrote the book. We're either going to help these kids realize what we've all gone through, which we're not saying we're better or we're worse. We're just saying it's the human factor. And with AI coming along, I'm going to tell you, I think AI is so hyped, but it is going to take over.
It's very hyped.
Yeah, it's going to take over a lot of the hard skills. It's already taken toll booth collectors away. It's already doing this and doing that, right? And if we don't put this into these younger folks' heads now, what's going to wind up happening? An erosion in 20 to 30 years, it's already occurred with social media anxiety disorder. You go to a 6-person table for the restaurant, everybody's on their cell phones. Why go to the restaurant to eat together? If AI is going to come along, wipe out these hard skills, wipe out these reproducing type of skills, repetitive skills. And then what's going to happen? We're not going to be able to pull anybody out because it's too far gone. That's why AI scares the hell out of me.
Well, yeah, and I think with any new technology, right? I was talking to an individual, he's a retired CIO, and he was saying, I asked him, do you think the internet was a bigger invention or a bigger innovation than AI? You think about the internet, it touched everything, right? I think social media is another animal because of the algorithms and how they're built and designed and sort of making decisions for you that you didn't even know you wanted or had to make. We all know what that's about. I think that, I think you said something about, again, the guardianship, the family values, and a well-known digital evangelist that I know, he put up this post and it was a few words. You are not your job. That was his post. Because you had said, Joe, you celebrated a successful career. Your family came first because even yourself as a human, you are not your job. Now we need to work and we need to contribute to society. We need to get jobs, but there's much more to it. And I think when we think about AI in the aggregate, there is a lot of hype. And I could go on and on about that, but this isn't a financial conversation about capitalism. So we'll just put that aside, Joe.
Okay.
Where's your next book going to take us, Joe?
I am actually writing a book. It's 95% done. The name of the book is The Uncoded Advantage. And what it talks about is you can't code social skills. You can't code humanity. And don't give me this nonsense about, excuse me, Christina, nothing to do with what you're saying because it has a place. So please don't take it wrong. But I'm tired of hearing the nonsense about the world's going to be nothing but technology and AI. So I think the uncoded advantage is my coding came from my guardianship, as I said, my upbringing from where I'm from. And you just can't code that. You can't make that happen. So, how do you adapt? How do you try to put as much as you can, Bill, into, maybe what you missed or what you don't know you missed, but you see in others who was your special forces of leadership that you respect and why. So hope that helps.
How long did it take you to write the book, first book?
2 answers. It took me since 1976, which I started indexing. I started indexing in my mind all the things that I learned from Porch University. I call it in Jersey City, from my father, from my mom, from the streets. And as I started to observe a lot of the phoniness that goes on in business and a lot of the BS artists, which I picked out like that, I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to keep indexing this. And my wife and another friend of mine who's a Pulitzer Prize winner twice said to me, you have to write a book. And I started, the second answer to the question is I started this book in January, and it was self-published August the 13th of 2025. So it was that small compressed time based upon years of mental indexing.
So when you, I'll ask you a question because I believe that I know the answer, but what happened after the book? What happened to you as a person in business, in your life, personally?
It cemented for me the door shut as to, son of a gun, it wasn't that bad. I had some of my worst days. It wasn't that bad. Or, my son almost passed away in 2013 from a brain bleed. It was the hardest. It was the hardest 2 chapters for me to write in that book. But I was reflective upon the two beautiful sons he has, the beautiful wife he has. When I got done with the book, it helped me connect retirement, which could be very lonely on the way up if you're not a good person,
Absolutely. Yeah.
to the book, which was like cementing shut. Wow, most of this that came from my streets, I've adapted in the workforce. And the reason I had the razor's edge on most people, a lot of people much more intelligent than me, no doubt. And I would go in there, you'd have males with their big egos, females fighting the big ego males, then you'd have the big ego females. It was all a mishmash. But I was able to just buzzsaw right through it. And when I wrote the book, I realized it was because of the streets. And I was able to read stuff before it happened. And that's how you kept it for survival. The business world has nothing on that.
Well, I tell everyone all the time, because I work with a self-published organization, and Red Penguin is the name of the organization. I met this woman in the bakery. You know, we started talking, and she had this huge organization right in Flora Park where I grew up. And we've been friends since. And I wrote my book. There's 80 women in my book, one of them being Stephanie. And they all now wrote their own book. And a book changes your life. It just does. You just go in so many paths. A book takes you to A, B, C, D, E, and you could pick A, B, C, D, or E when things are not good and go to E and then go back to A, because you have all these skills you didn't know you had.
Mhm.
That's what I told to promote.
Christina, where do you think you are on your trajectory
Where do I think I am as far as scaling this? And
as far as your business trajectory?
so meeting with brokers now to get the patent licensed so that we can really grow it. Getting the word out, right? I think with the right in the right hands, I think it could scale very quickly, and the way word spreads. So that's where I am, and I would like to, I consider myself a thought leader. I do want to write a book, by the way. One of my coaches told me to do that, so that's next.
Do it.
Do it. I actually started it. It's got some philosophy in it, but that's a whole nother story, literally. Being a thought leader and really just, I think it's very urgent right now. I think, we could see something, we could patent it. We could say it's a great idea. Okay, there's a lot of great ideas. We have to get it scaled. That's what we need to do.
Very true. And, when you're a person that has vision, I see vision. I had a lot of vision and a lot of different things I did. But if you keep working on that vision in your head and you keep thinking of it, it does happen eventually. And it's really fun when it happens. Like when we did the benches in the golf course on Long Island, and it was all about people I gave. And now when you go to that golf course, there's little benches with people's names on it. But it took us, about 2 years? 2 years to get it done. And it's the same with any project you take on, But it's really a good idea to write a book. If anybody ever needs referrals, I know everybody. And I think you go both. I don't know, it's karma. Don't you think this was like karma? Like you guys know each other, yet I didn't know either one of you until 48 hours ago.
And
I was just thinking about karma, to your point.
And I think there's a lot of goodness. Yeah, law of attraction as well. I think that, back to your point, I think every founder, every inventor, even every author, in some facet, does it because they really believe in it. They really believe they have the vision to maybe change the world. And some people look and say, "You're crazy. You're never going to be able to do that."
But you know how many people ask me, been retired now for several years, why are you doing this, Joe? Why are you down in Florida somewhere and this and that? And my response is pretty simple. I didn't do this to become the #1 bestseller list. I didn't do it to make millions. None of that stuff. What I did is because I feel that if one human being can garner something out of reading this and it's adaptable, then you've done something. Because I can walk down a crowded street, and the best feeling for me, which sounds so goofy when people hear it, is if I make eye contact with a person I don't know, and they make eye contact with me, I'll smile and nod my head.
That's a good day.
When they nod back versus looking at me like I'm some, space cadet, but when they nod back, it is the greatest. It's like I just, opened up a bank book and just had a bunch of money.
I agree with you. Like just on the way out, Susan and I we were talking to someone, and I don't understand, why are you going today? It's a holiday, and because we like it, we like what we do. And I was trying to explain that to someone that asked me, you work so hard. No, this is not hard. When you do what you love, it's not hard work.
No, it's never. Isn't that what they say? Find something you love to do, and you'll never be working.
Right.
And it's the other thing, like you said about how you were raised. I was always taught that, when people say, "Oh, if I did something, you were lucky." Well, you know what? My definition of luck is when preparation and opportunity meet.
And
I don't think it exists. I don't think luck exists.
No, it isn't. It's preparation and opportunity, and it comes
Choices.
And also even situations that are a little wacky. What do we always say? Wacky selves. Whenever we did wacky stuff at the show, at the club,
people were interested. They garnered interest.
And, women and men came, but more women. But one bitch would walk in the door and we'd throw her out because we didn't allow bitches in the Breakfast Club.
You can tell in the heartbeat, right? You can tell.
You can tell immediately. As soon as someone walks in the door, it's.
And if they are, you're definitely telling them, because you're not direct at all, Valentina. There's nothing direct about you.
Because I do believe
one look and she's out of there.
The truth sets you free.
Yes, it does. Indeed, it
And
does.
on that note, I can't thank you guys enough because you guys are terrific to talk to.
Thoroughly enjoyed having and meeting you.
We also talk a little bit about Thanksgiving, gratitude. Gratitude is, now is the time to go to people and say, you are making a difference in my life, or, whatever. Talk to that person at McDonald's for a day and, buy her a cup of coffee instead of her giving you the coffee. And, go to someone that doesn't have much and do something sweet. You won't realize that will make her whole holiday. I mean, I know you've done that. I've done that. Have you done that?
Sure.
Well,
I'll never forget the day someone paid for my hair in the beauty parlor, and I didn't even know who she was, but it was because she knew my sister, who was a breast cancer. Unfortunately, she passed away. And when I went to pay, they said, "Oh, you paid for it." I said, "By who?" The lady that just left.
But you do find that, I will say this though, I'm a Facebook junkie. And because I like to see what everybody's doing and how well they're all doing. I don't particularly like to hear it every moment. So I can, how many pictures of a child going to the first day of school can you, I love to look at the pictures, but I don't need to hear, "Oh, did you like the way Joni's hair looked?" I mean, I don't need all that. But what I do see more and more is people saying, "Oh, I drove through Starbucks and the person, now I'm going to pay it forward." I do see, I don't know how big it is, but I do see locally. There is, even my neighbor was in a diner with her daughter. Her husband just passed away and someone paid for their lunch. She said, "You know what? I'm going to do that."
It's a nice thing to do. I did it once.
It's infectious, yeah.
There are simple ways to practice gratitude.
Pay it forward.
Pay it forward. What was something today or yesterday that made you feel good? And take that and do it again for somebody else.
And I think we go back to,
right.
Sorry, apologize. We go back to Joe's book, right?
Right.
He paid it forward, and he even paid it forward to himself. You referenced your own experiences. And when we talk about changing the world, we could remove some of the grandiosity. I mean, depending.
Absolutely.
But when we really think about it, changing one person's world is changing the world.
That's the way to do it.
So
One person that reads that book, Joe,
how do we reach you?
World.
How do people reach you? Where do they go?
Oh, reach me? Oh,
yes.
So get me through LinkedIn, or when you can also email me at christina.massa, MASSA, at rsmail.io.
Okay.
Or you could find me on LinkedIn. You could Google me. The article's there, and there's links to how to get to me. Christina, CHRISTINA, Massa, MASSA.
And Joe, how do they reach you? How do they buy your book? Where is it sold?
The book is on several sites, but it's mainly on Amazon. And you just look up the JSLOTA experience and the book just pops up. You'll see it in the Kindle version of the paperback. And also I have a URL, which is www.jaslegacy.com. That's www.jaslegacy.com.
We wish you both the
Yes.
very best.
And
Happy Thanksgiving. Grateful for you.
Happy
Happy
Nice to meet
Thanksgiving
you
to all
as
of you.
well.
Enjoy. And Joe, I want to talk to you again. There's something.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm
Okay.
sending you a picture in 5 minutes.
Okay. And on that note, that's a wrap, guys.
Have a
Thank
happy
you.
Thanksgiving, everybody. Nice
Thank
meeting
you
you.
very
Bye-bye now. Bye.